month of September, Leading Age Maryland is highlighting the workforce development efforts across the aging services sector. And one of the ways we're doing that is by members and partners about their experiences and encouraging stories of how member organizations have grown employees within their organizations. So joining me today is Amy Young with Wagman Construction. We're so excited to have you with us, Amy. Can you tell me a bit about your professional background, what you studied in college, and how you got involved in aging services?
Absolutely. Well, first, Allison, thank you so much for inviting me to be part of this. I appreciate it. Well, it all started back in college. So I attended York College of Pennsylvania. And when I started college, I had no idea that I was going to end up in the aging services field. I thought I wanted to be in forensic science, but learned quickly that it required way too much chemistry, and chemistry that was way above my level of understanding. So I had started researching some of the curriculums that they offered at York College, and I came across the long-term care administration program. And it really combined a lot of things that I was looking for. It offered classes and studies in the medical field, in the legal field, in business management, human services. So it really was like this all-encompassing field that I thought, oh, that sounds wonderful. So that's kind of how I ended up in the aging services field, was through the selection of my major at college. And I was very fortunate to be exposed to the field while I was in college. The coursework required in my junior year, a 240-hour internship, which was my real first exposure into the operations of senior living community. And then the last semester of my senior year was a practicum. It was in the field. It was, I think, 480 hours was required, and just gave me a great opportunity to really see what the entire operations of, and that one was in a life plan community, what the entire operations entailed. So I was fortunate out of college to then land a position as an administrator in training. So I've been in the field, or now working closely with aging services providers for almost 30 years. So it's been a fantastic experience.
Thanks for sharing that, Amy. And I think folks might see, well, Wagman Construction, that's not aging services, but you work with providers who are doing renovations and new development, and your knowledge and on-the-ground experience as a nursing home administrator, I'm sure, makes you so much more able to connect and relate and really know what some of the challenges and opportunities are.
Yeah.
So it really is part of the field. So
Yeah.
were there specific opportunities that you had when you were a nursing home administrator that your organization gave you to help you grow and develop?
Yeah, absolutely. So when I started out of college in that administrator and training program, it was the most absolute best experience that I could have asked for. The first thing that they had me do was attend the certified nursing assistant training program. So I became a nursing assistant, and I worked on the floor as a nursing assistant for probably about 12 to 16 weeks. And it gave me the perspective to understand what it is that the individuals who work closely with the residents providing that day-to-day care experience, and what they do on a daily basis. And I have appreciated that opportunity and that experience. It was the absolute best thing that I could have done. From there, I went and worked in housekeeping and laundry for a period of time. So again, the nursing assistants, they are like the backbone of the care and skilled nursing, but housekeeping, laundry, the culinary and dietary workers, I mean, they keep things running as well, and are absolutely necessary for what's provided to the residents day in and day out. So though that experience through that administrator and training program was, I can't explain how important it was to my career and my ability then to relate to the staff. So I went through that, the administrator and training program with that organization. I eventually became an assistant administrator and then moved into a nursing home administrator role. My first nursing home administrator role was at a 270 bed skilled nursing facility, so large.
Wow.
I learned a lot, for sure, and appreciate that experience. And then I was able to take that experience, and I moved on from that organization and moved into a role as a nursing home administrator at a life plan community. And then from there was able to move into an executive director role at that same community, obviously gaining experience in the independent living and personal care and assisted living and memory care that I had not had previously, just in my nursing home administrator role. And then through a conversation with Joe Wagman, who is a third generation Wagman family member and who was or is still chairman of Wagman Construction, we talked about the work that they did for aging services providers, and he was wanting to retire, and he felt it was important to have someone on board that understood the field. And it really, at that point in time, I don't think, he was thinking, oh, I want to hire you. But it was a conversation that we had for probably almost a year. And when Wagman decided, yes, we want to bring someone on board that has that experience, I thought it was a great opportunity. I really was not looking to leave operations, but I thought it was a great way to still stay connected and maintain relationships that I had developed, and look to develop new relationships, and then also learn about a whole new field of construction that, if you had asked me 15 years ago if I was going to work in construction, I would have never, ever thought that. But it's been a great opportunity, and it allows me to stay connected. It allows me to still make an impact. But at the same time, like I said, just learn about a whole new industry and field. So that's been great. Wagman fortunately allows me to stay connected to organizations like Leading Age Maryland. And also it's important for me that we, Wagman, support our aging services providers. And one of the ways that we've done that is through sponsoring things like the Emerging Leaders Program through Leading Age Maryland, and the Fellows in Leadership Program through Leading Age PA, because I know how important it is to continue to grow our workforce and develop our next generation of leaders.
Yeah. Thanks for sharing all that, Amy. It sounds like you've had some really great opportunities to take on new opportunities. And it sounds like when kind of faced with a change of, wow, why would I go work in construction? It was all about kind of that relationship that you had and being willing to say yes to something new.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what's the most rewarding part of your job now?
Now, I think it's meeting new people. This role gives me the opportunity to do that. I get to meet a lot of great people, not only in the aging services field, but in the construction industry, in the other markets that we serve as well. I would not have always described myself as an extrovert. I still don't. I definitely would describe myself as an introvert. So putting myself out there to meet new people, it can be challenging, but I think one of the things that I think we need to do in our careers is kind of lean into that fear. Thinking back to the conversation on courage in the annual conference, it's so important to lean into that fear so that you expand your knowledge, your horizons, your relationships. Meeting new people is definitely one of the most rewarding things for me.
Yeah, that's wonderful. So through your work with so many different organizations over the years, have you seen examples of workforce development programs that have been successful?
Absolutely. I think, well, I was fortunate enough when I was in operations at one of the life plan communities. I was in the inaugural class of the Fellows in Leadership program with Leading HPA. And I think programs like that, programs like the Emerging Leaders, programs
Mhm.
like the Leadership Academy through Leading Age are wonderful opportunities to grow leaders within our organization. So anytime anyone has an opportunity to pursue anything like that, and I know a lot of our provider members and organizations have also started their own programs and have their
Mhm.
own workforce and leadership development programs. And I think those organizations that have vested in doing that, invested in their staff and their employees, they're great organizations to be connected to and involved with. So, and then I think we have so much to learn from outside of our industry. And I
Mhm.
don't like to use the word industry for
Right.
aging services, but I think there's so much to learn from other organizations. And I finally see us starting to do that as aging services providers, like looking outside and making connections. And again, that's one of the great things with my job now. We do a lot of work in higher education, so connecting aging services providers with the higher education world, and seeing the opportunities that can evolve and develop, particularly in the workforce arena. It's
Mhm.
been great.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks for sharing that. I guess lastly, what advice would you give for someone who's interested? So maybe they're in college, maybe they're already in the field working somewhere, maybe they're in a completely different part of the career spectrum. What advice would you give someone interested in working in aging services or someone who's here and wanting to really progress further?
I would say, as I said, lean into that fear. Be willing to make the connections, have the relationships, talk to individuals that work within the aging services field or who are connected to the aging services field. And there's so many opportunities out there. Again, I would have never thought I'd be working for a construction company, but like I said, it allows me to stay connected. And there are so many opportunities, not only with our aging services member organizations, but with the business partners that
Mhm.
provide services and support all our aging services providers. So there are so many opportunities out there. So don't be afraid to uh, pick up the phone, send an email, text someone, and just have those conversations and explore all the opportunities that are out there to someone in the aging services field.
Thanks, Amy. We so appreciate you sharing your experiences with us and really appreciate the work that Wagman does in supporting our Emerging Leaders program and being one of our platinum sponsors. So thank you again for taking the time to talk with me today.
Thank you. Have a wonderful day.
You too.